Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read only one book by this author before, and it is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have the review of that one I published 2 years back when I read that book as an audiobook, and I can say that I went in with high expectations for this one after having read that one, and this one was completely worth all those expectations because by the end I just loved this book so much, and it's just been 12 hours since I finished reading the book, but I can completely say that I will remember this book for many years to come because it was really well written. I heard mixed reviews from the people whom I follow on the internet here in booktube as well as on bookstagram, but I don't know why people might not like this story because it was super well written and had the same flavor as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So without any further ado, let's get into the various parts of the review right away. Talking about the plot of this book, we follow our main character, Nina Riva, who's the eldest child of a world-famous singer Mick Riva, who left his family while Nina was a child 15 years back, and they had 4 kids then, so Nina has 3 other siblings who are Jay, Hud and Kit. Nina herself, who's in her 20s right now, is a world-famous surfing model and she's also recently divorced. Nina has this tradition of throwing a huge party each and every summer, and during this particular year in 1983, she throws it in August. The entire book actually happens within a 24-hour time span, in between 7 AM on the day of the party and the next morning 7 AM, that is the day after the party. There are many things which happen during these 24 hours, and we also switch in between the past and the present, getting to know about the backstories of all the 4 main characters, especially Nina's backstory and her parents' backstory. At the same time, we also follow the events that are happening inside the party in the present. The shift in tone of the author while she's telling us the stories of the parents and the things that are happening right now was very nice to read, and as a whole I can say that the plot of the book was very solid. Talking about the characters, we follow our main character Nina, who's a world famous surfing model, and her 3 other siblings who are Jay, Hud and Kit. Of these, Jay and Hud are a surfing duo in which one is a surfer and the other is a photographer, and the youngest of all the 4 siblings, Kit, considers herself to be the most normal of all the 4 siblings. Apart from the backstories of these 4 main characters, we also get the backstories of their parents who are Mick and June. It's not like we get the detailed backstory of their parents just as we get for these 4 characters, but the story that is necessary in order to understand the characters well is narrated well by the author if you ask me. At the same time, Nina's backstory is the most compelling and interesting to read compared to the other 3 siblings. I'm not saying that the backstories of the other 3 siblings are insignificant in any way, because they are also significant in order to move the plot in the present just as much as Nina's is. They are not so strong as that of Nina, but they are also dealing with issues which are very necessary in order to be addressed. I think if the book had been a bit longer, we could have dug in deep into the backstories of the other 3 main characters also, but as a whole the character work in this one was very nice and I loved it a lot. Moving on to the writing, I want to say that Taylor Jenkins Reid has one of the best writing styles that I've read so far because it is very compelling and addictive in its tone. She provides the perfect atmosphere that is necessary for the story to progress and keep us engaged with reading the book also. More than 80% of the book actually happens just in coastal areas itself, and I'd highly suggest you to read this during the summer season. Summer has started for us over here, so please consider to put this on your TBR because I'm sure that you'll enjoy the mood of this book so much. I went to the beach just 2 weeks back, but if I had read this book then it would have been even better for me because the tone of the book is like that. I think the author herself is very well versed in writing these kinds of stories because her writing just gels with the tone of the story really well and it moves very smoothly. I know that the physical copies of this one here for us in India are a bit expensive, but I'd highly suggest you to try the audiobook also. I actually read the book physically, but I'd highly suggest you to try the audiobook also because I saw the narrator of the audiobook after I finished reading the book and I was just a bit disappointed that I did not just listen to the audiobook alone because it is narrated by Julia Whelan. She is the narrator of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo as well as The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I listened to both of those books as audiobooks and the voice of that narrator is so glazy in its tone. Trust me, if you're having an Audible membership, I'd highly suggest you to spend that credit that you have for this month on Malibu Rising because I know that narrator is completely worth each and every credit that you'll spend because she knows really well how to narrate these kinds of stories. So as a whole, the writing was very smooth and super addictive. Finally, talking about the pacing of this book, I can say that the pacing of the book is pretty fast in its tone because this is a book which you can just sit down and read in a single day itself. It is not a book that you can just sit down and read in a single sitting because there are some instances during which the book just gets very emotional. The way in which she has written the dynamic between the siblings and the relationship between them was my most favorite part of the book as a whole, and the time she took in order to explain those relationships and the relationship with Nina with each and every one of her 3 siblings was very beautiful. I read this in like 2 or 3 days, but I'm sure that if I had had a free day, I would just sit down and read it in a single day itself because it was that well paced. So my opinion is that no matter what kind of pacing you like, I'm sure that this will be suitable for everyone. So yes guys, that was my spoiler-free review of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I rated the book 4.75 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it totally. I did not rate it 5 stars because it did not hit that mark of the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Otherwise, it was just a completely different and very beautiful book to read. If you're a person who likes family dramas and sibling stories in specific, I'd highly suggest you to try this one because I like sibling stories very much and I got everything that I wanted out of this book. Since we are in summer also, I'd highly suggest you to try this book because this is the perfect time in order to read a story like this one. So yeah, that's it for my review, and if you did find it useful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.